Hello everybody, welcome back to British Stand, guys. We do have some breaking news for you this afternoon. As you can read there in the title, there has been a shooting in Milton Keynes where police have killed a man, shooting him dead after he was carrying a firearm in the busy commuter station. As always, guys, we'll break down this story, but in typical British fashion, we don't really know the full context of the story. We just know that the individual was carrying a firearm and that he has been shot dead. We don't know what he was doing with the firearm and all of the rest of it, but those things usually stay quiet for some time. But as always, as stated, we'll go through what we know and the details that we've got at the time of recording. But as always, guys, please do get involved in the live chats. You really do make these live streams. If you're watching this on replay, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button for more breaking news updates from across the UK and the rest of the world. So, this is what we know. A man has died after being shot by armed police at Milton Keynes Central Railway Station. Officers from Thames Valley Police attended the station after reports of a man carrying a firearm. Shots were fired by officers who attended the scene and challenged the man. Life-saving actions were immediately taken at the scene, but the man was pronounced dead at 1:44 p.m. A Thames Valley Police spokesperson said officers from Thames Valley Police and British Transport Police were called to reports of a man carrying a firearm at Milton Keynes Railway Station, Elder Gate, at 12:55 p.m. today. Armed officers from Thames Valley Police responded and challenged the man before shots were fired by police. Life-saving actions were immediately taken at the scene, but the man was pronounced dead at 1:44 p.m. There is not believed to be any further risk to the public at this time. We'll provide more details as soon as we are able to. So as stated, that's all of the information that we've really got so far with regard to this incident, this shooting that's of course occurred at Milton Keynes train station. Now, the situation is, again, why is a guy cutting around a train station with a firearm? And there may be some international viewers, some from the United States, I think that's fairly normal. But within the United Kingdom, of course, guns are very, very heavily regulated. And yeah, something certainly out of the ordinary, especially in Milton Keynes. So that's kind of all we've got. I wish I could probably tell you more. I wish I'd had maybe some footage from the area, from the scene, so we get a better context around it. But unfortunately, nothing has emerged as of yet, and we can only take what we've got from the police statements thus far. But to conclude, a man has been shot dead by armed police at Milton Keynes train station today after carrying a firearm. Now, as always, guys, I do want to get your reaction to this down there in the live chat, so do get involved. Let's go through some of the comments. I almost apologize because I feel like I've been live for 3 minutes and I've told the whole story already, and that's all I've got. I'm sorry, but that's it, unfortunately. Craftaholics has probably saved other people's lives. Yeah, certainly. Within the if you're cutting around with a firearm in itself, yes, it's a scary thought. But again, the armed police aren't going to shoot you on sight unless it was a serious threat to their lives or, of course, to the people around them. So there must have been something crazy going on in Milton Keynes train station for them to actually shoot the guy dead. Let's put it that way. Our armed police don't really fire shots unless something is like serious. And even that, looking at the way that the current rules of engagement are for the police, we've seen them been ran through the courts over the last few years as well. There is a lot of spotlight on it. So these armed police would not shoot an individual for the sheer sake of it. It would be a case of it was an actual threat to their life and, of course, to the people around them as to why they would have taken him out. So I want to know the context of what this lunatic was doing. But yeah, just cutting around Milton Keynes train station. To be fair, I have a feeling that, of course, these sort of scenarios we're going to hear crop up a little bit more in modern day Britain. It's probably not something that's going to be out of the ordinary soon. It's probably going to be something that we see rather on a week-to-week basis than soon to be a day-to-day basis. But I'm looking forward to hearing what the guy was actually doing, what the context of it was. Obviously, he wasn't just carrying a pistol. He was obviously doing something. He was causing harm. He was threatening to kill and all of the rest of it. But I do want to find out a little bit more with regard to this individual. But yeah. Guys, we've got a super chat coming in from Nina. Thank you so much for your generosity. She says, no sympathy for those who walk around with guns. Absolutely. I mean, look, listen, again, we don't know the full context of what's actually gone on in Milton Keynes train station. But yeah, I mean, the guy's obviously brought it on himself. He would have been warned multiple times if the armed police were there. It wouldn't have just been a sake of, oh, he has a gun, let's shoot him. They would have given him ample of chances to stand down before they fired that shot. And that's the one thing that I would say. I know the police do get a lot of stick within the UK, but I would say our armed police are very, very well trained and professional with what they do, and to be fair, they do a very, very good job. So yeah, I don't doubt for a minute that guy, of course, was a lunatic by the looks of things, and he would have been given loads and loads of chances to stand down and put the gun down and all of these kind of things. You just know that. But thank you for your donation. There we go, Dazman as always. Did they get the firearm from Amazon? Most probably, according to Keir Starmer, that's probably where he got it from. As stated, for those international viewers that are tuning in, yes, I suppose there's a myth that guns are illegal in the UK. They're not illegal as such, but they are very heavily regulated, and you can't really get your hands on them that easy. I mean, you can, I suppose, but you can't get them. It's not a very common feat to have shootings within the United Kingdom as such. The usual method of murders and things, or offensive weapons, are of course with knives within the UK. So whilst people do have firearms, I suppose it is very, very rare. You don't really hear about it all too much. Compared to like the United States, for an example. The US would be like, the US viewers are probably sitting there like, what? This is just like a normal thing. But in the UK, it's, I suppose, a very, very big thing. So that's why, of course, we are reporting it, because it's certainly out of the ordinary. Gary Buchanan says, I think there is more to this story. There will absolutely be more to this story. 1,000% there's going to be more to this story. Again, yeah, I don't want to be a parrot, but yeah, the armed police aren't just going to shoot even someone with a firearm for doing nothing. As I keep on saying, they would have gave him ample of chances to put the firearm down, and it must have been an imminent threat to the people around him and to the officers themselves that were dealing with him. Solistic Atheist says, we have some convincing blank firing and replica firearms available in the United Kingdom. Yeah, but he wouldn't... look, guys, as I said, people can say anything that they want about it. Yeah, it could have been a dud, right? It could have been a dud. But look, if you're going to have a realistic weapon and you're pointing it around at people and the armed police are giving you a chance to put the weapon down, all these kind of things, then you have no choice. I mean, it's your life or theirs, and you've got to have... I think we used to get told in the army, if you ultimately, I can't remember the actual saying, but if you ultimately believe that that's the right thing to do, is to shoot, that's the only way to stop them. As I said, it's your life, the people around you over his, and he's been probably warned thousands of times. So if it even was a replica, then, the armed police would have dealt with the situation in the right way. I have no doubt about that for sure. Phil says, just turned on, saw what's happened, what happened to the gunman? Died. Police shot him. The armed police killed him. So shot dead at the scene. So he's no longer with us. But they did try and do sort of life saving, but died at the scene at 11:44 p.m. So 1:44 p.m. Sorry, so fairly recent this afternoon. William says, is this a mental incident? Nothing. As you should know that by now, William. William, we're in the UK. We get kept. We're mushrooms. We don't get told too much. I mean, they probably were forced to tell the story because there was a gunshot at Milton Keynes train station. So yeah, I mean, as I said, that's all we know is that the guy that was shot was carrying a firearm, and the police killed him at the scene, shot him dead at the scene, and that's all we know. We don't know the context of it. We don't know. What he was doing, we don't know what he was trying to do, all of these kind of things. So hopefully we'll find out, but as I said, don't hold your breath. We are in the UK at the end of the day. Joker says the UK Floyd. I absolutely hope not. That is the case. I hope not. Yeah, I mean, look, there's a lot of anti-police, and I don't really like the UK police as well. But I think we can sort of, dissect between armed police. They're usually at the top of the trade. I think a lot of the ex-military blokes go into the armed police as well. And yeah, I think they do a good job. And I think, to be fair, some of the cases, there was that guy who shot that I think the gang, I can't remember the full context of the story, a few years back, shot someone in a car and was dragged through the courts initially. Thankfully, of course, it got let go. But I remember his name was getting chanted by lefties. I think he was like a murderous gang leader or something like that. And they were dragging that armed officer through the courts due to him shooting him. And actually, we've seen the clips. They released the CCTV footage with the body cam footage of the actual incident that happened at that point. And the armed officer was absolutely correct. I don't even know why his life was ruined for 2 years. All you had to do was look at it and go, yes, that guy is an imminent threat, and you have to take him out, especially knowing his history. So yeah, I do think a lot of the armed police do get a hard time, especially dragged through the courts. They won't shoot. They will not shoot unless they have to. Absolutely. Unless there's an imminent threat to them, they would not shot. Or the people around them, they would have not shot. This is the UK at the end of the day. They would have done everything possible. I genuinely do believe that. Ian says they would or should challenge an armed person and give them the chance to surrender peacefully before any shots were fired. And that they did. They did challenge him. That says it in the police reports. It was challenged. So, of course, that is the normal protocol, and that would have been the case. I'm sure of it. Otherwise, if that wasn't the case, then I'm sure you'll be hearing this story for years to come. So, yeah. Blame USA says, how do they know he's got a gun? Well, I suppose in the story, in the police statement that they said, the guy was armed. That's what they're saying. The police were called after reports of an individual, of a man carrying a firearm. So I don't think that's the full scale of the story. I don't think it was just a guy walking around with the firearm in his pocket and going, oh, somebody's got a firearm, oh, let's shoot him. He would have been doing something. We haven't been told the full story yet. He would have been doing something to draw attention onto himself and been causing an imminent threat. He would have been, waving about. I don't know. He would have been doing something. Let's be honest. It's not like someone seen it through his pocket and went, oh, that guy's armed, let's shoot him. It wouldn't have been the case. But yeah. But guys, do let me know your thoughts on this story down there in the comment section below from Milton Keynes. If you are just tuning in, guys, a man has been shot dead by armed police after, of course, carrying a firearm in Milton Keynes Central Station. Let's carry on the conversation in the comment section below. We've got a few more videos coming up for you for the remainder of the day.